Okay, we are officially recording. We are going to get started. Welcome to our virtual new version of this circle that we're doing tonight. We are officially in our new season of 13 moons. And we kicked off this just a few days ago on Friday the 13th. And tonight we are doing our full moon circle devoted to the energy of Pisces. Now, the reason this is a new way of doing our circles is because this new season of 13 moons is all about performing magical practices together underneath this lunar energy in these containers of sacred space in these virtual full moon circles so that you can really align with the cosmic energy that is supporting you right now, and you can lean into more of your magic and learn how to do it very approachably in a modern day world. Now, yes, we absolutely did cast a spell in our Friday the 13th magical meetup, but tonight will be a little bit easier with what we do with our energy. I'm a little bit of a mumble jumble tonight. Please excuse my words. We are doing things differently as well because we are here at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, today's Central Time, because this is what worked with my schedule right now. I just happen to have a very busy week, and I also have a child that I have to manage with babysitting and a husband who works an hour away right now most days. And so I am just working to make sure that I can show up to you because we've been a little bit sporadic with our moon circles over the past few months here in the membership just because of circumstance with my own life and travel. And now that we are back, into this state of Virgo season, and I've traveled a little bit less in the past month, I'm trying so hard to dedicate to stay here moon after moon and show up to you. So maybe sometimes we're going to do these circles at a different time of day than the evening, but you can always grab the recording and catch what you missed. So tonight we are going to talk about this Pisces full moon and being a harvest moon and what that means, and also what it means to be in a partial lunar eclipse. We are kicking off eclipse season with this moon. We'll also talk about other important cosmic transits that are happening with this full moon, and we'll touch base on the Vedic astrology of this moon. Our magical practice tonight, if you are in this membership and you're not just catching the replay and you're not part of the membership, because I do an edited version of these circles out on YouTube and my website and my podcast, but they don't include the magical practices. However, just so you know what you may be missing out on if you are catching the replay, the magical practice tonight is a yoga nidra. It will be a 20-minute yoga nidra practice that will convince your mind and your body into thinking that it got 1 hour of deep sleep. And even though you'll be in more of a hypnotic conscious rest state, your body and mind will feel like you are sleeping. Your organs, your systems will feel like they are sleeping. Your subtle energy body will function as if it is sleeping. And within that subtle liminal space where Pisces energy loves to thrive, we will also explore co-creation. We will dive into 5D reality and really grasp that, take hold of that energy, start to actually manipulate it, work with it, and cultivate our future as if it is happening right now. And by doing that in that dream restful state, we will start to set a standard for the energy to come together and make that dream happen in our actual real world. And we're doing this tonight not only because Pisces is related to sleep and rest, it's the sign of the cosmic dreamer, it's connected to the liminal spaces and where the veil is thin, but this also is a time to prepare to accelerate yourself into your next evolution. This is eclipse season. Eclipses are like portals that we can jump through. I always think about Mario. I'm kind of an 80s, 90s kid, and I grew up on Mario, and you jump through the tunnels, and warp to another world. And we have the ability to do that right now. And we start to set the standard with this full moon. Now, our eclipse series itself has been in an Aries Libra series. And yes, this full moon is in Pisces, but that's because we're moving to the end of this Aries Libra series. It started back in the spring of 2023. It will end in this upcoming spring of 2025. And as we start to transition to the next eclipse series with Virgo and Pisces, we start to get a preview of that energy now. So we'll grasp onto that. We will hold on to the energy of sleep and conscious rest through the power of yoga nidra tonight, or sleep yoga. And with that, we'll really cultivate our sankalpa, or visualized intention, to make our dreams come true in our future. Now, I also want to back up for just a moment for those that are catching the replay and maybe just take a minute to introduce myself. My name is Vina Lene Rachel. I am a moon priestess. I am an intuitive, a medium, a channeler of the divine. That is what my spiritual name means. I have been hosting these moon circles for, I think, about 8 years now. I really should go back and look, but some of them are lost within time. We've done these on Zoom. We have done these on Facebook. We've done them on Instagram. Right now, we are doing them within the 13 Moons membership, and they've been a little bit of all over the place. But over these past 8 years, I've done my best to meet with you most new and full moons, just to tell you a little bit about the energy, what's going on at hand, how to work with this astrological energy, and what we can do to make sure that we don't feel like we're going crazy. Because in the end, we're all lunatics. We're all ruled by that lunar energy, and we all flux and flow with how we feel. And more than likely, how we feel does align with the different phases of the moon. So I welcome you tonight, or today, or whenever you are tuning into this transmission. I'm so excited that you're here and you're learning more about the cosmos. I promise the more that you get in tune with our earthly moon, the more you will understand not only how you feel and why you feel a certain way, but you will start to understand more of how the collective feels and why they behave in certain ways as well. This helps us to provide more harmony in our lives, and we start to cultivate more inner peace because we realize, hey, we're not crazy. It's just the moon making us feel a certain way. And if you think this is all craziness, this probably isn't the place for you, but maybe just think about how you are mostly water. And we know that the full moons affect the tides. In fact, there are certain moons in nature where all of the corals spawn at once, or all of the whales are born. Even in nature beyond the ocean, we know that certain things happen under certain moons. And even indigenously, the moons are named after these different patterns in nature. So there's got to be something to the moon and how it rules us. Not only our internal waters, our feelings, our emotions, our sexuality, sensuality, our fertility, our creativity, our ability to be fluid or not, but it also controls nature all around us. And we have witnessed that over time. Now, tonight's moon is a harvest moon. This September full moon is called the harvest moon because it is a time when we are starting to harvest everything that we have nurtured over summertime, everything that we grew from the plantings of springtime. It's time to cut down what is no longer growing, what is at the peak of its ripeness, and start to enjoy the harvest. And we're seeing that all around us, especially here in the Midwest where I am right now. They're really starting to cut down the corn. We're starting to see more, veggies and fruits and produce at the farmer's market. I've even noticed the change in the produce at the grocery store. So we are definitely in this harvest energy. But this isn't just the physical harvest we're experiencing right now with our plants and our food. This is also our metaphorical harvest, our spiritual harvest. And this is a moon that's going to start illuminating all of the, things that we have gained and profited, and, the work that has paid off. But it's also going to maybe shine light on the things that didn't grow or the things that haven't happened yet, so that we can either decide if we want to keep putting our efforts there, maybe replant the seeds or make a plan to replant in the future, or if we just want to let that effort go. The reason that we want to lean into a lot of sleep and rest right now is because this moon is in the sign of Pisces, which is the sign of the dreamer. This is intense water energy that can really impact our emotions and our feelings. So we want to make sure that we are resting and relaxing and calming down all of that churning and that sloshing back and forth. The more stillness we can find right now with this moon, the deeper breaths that we can find, the more ease we'll find in our mind, the more tension we'll release from our body, and the more anxiousness we'll probably release from our energy as well. I'm going to dive a little bit deeper in a moment about this moon, but I want to start by bringing in more of a sacred space by introducing you to elements that you may want to utilize during this full moon, and then calling on the guides and guardians to be with us. I always start with the earth element and usually some crystals or gemstones to suggest working with. Now, before I do that, I want to mention that Pisces is not only the two fish, one swimming up and one swimming down, but they are also the entire cosmic ocean. So anything related to the ocean right now, I actually have some mother of pearl on my wrist, and that reminds me of the ocean. You could have any sort of like shells, pearls, anything that corals, anything that reminds you of the sea, even sand, all of that is carrying energy that is related to Pisces right now. But if you do want to work specifically with certain crystals or gemstones, I would start with basic rose quartz. And it's not basic at all. I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean it's a great go-to crystal to have in your healing toolbox. And that's because rose quartz works with the heart space, and the heart chakra is our energetic center. It's where all of our other energy highways stem from. It's the energetic balancer between our human side and our spiritual side. And rose quartz promotes more unconditional love, not only to the external but also to ourself. Pisces energy is very sensitive, not only in the intuitive psychic spaces, but in the emotional feeling spaces. And they can get kind of hard on themselves because they're always deeply exploring who they are and why they act or behave in certain ways, their traumas, their wounds, their healing, and they're on that path a lot. So this is a moon to be a little bit more gentle with yourself, or just to surround yourself and even your past self with more love. Rose quartz can help enhance that feeling. I would also suggest working with agate right now, any type of agate, but also blue lace agate in particular to ease anxieties. Virgo energy, we are in the Virgo sun season, is all about the body, all about wellness, and they're in their mind a lot. They're very methodical. They're ruled by the throat chakra and Chiron, that wounded healer that's always thinking about their past, kind of living in a martyr state or regret state. And then you have Pisces coming in to think about all of the inner stuff, the wounds, the deep emotions. How can we break that generational karma? How can we break those deep patterns? How can we heal our bloodline? All of that more intense work. And so with both of those, there can be a lot of anxious energy, a lot of anxieties, a lot of judgments. And blue lace agate can help to calm that, but any agate can calm that as well. I suggest working with more of the blue or gray crystals, and this is just a basic agate, blue or gray kind of swirls within it. Agates can be any color, but they are a grounding stone. They help to soothe your energy and they bring you back into the present. We have anxieties based on our past, or a future that we're creating that doesn't exist based on our past. We have depressions based on our past, creating a future based on that past that doesn't exist yet. We want to calm all that down and just be present. So agate might be one that you want to work with right now. This is also good to sleep with, maybe under your pillow, under your bed, or you can put it with you when you're meditating, even in your space or in a pocket, maybe putting it like actually near your heart if you have something to hold it here at your chest, or just hold it in your hands because your hands are an extension of your heart chakra. I would also suggest working with aquamarine right now or turquoise, either one. I've got the turquoise around my neck, the aquamarine here, and you would think that aquamarine would be like an aquamarine color, but it's not. It is more of this white stone. It might have a little bit of a bluish turquoise tint to it, but it's almost always going to be a white-ish, like creamy-ish white stone. And this one helps us to not only calm our anxieties, but it works with overall wellness, soothes that throat chakra, helps to provide more balance there, and helps us to feel more healthy. Same thing with turquoise. This one works on healing, health, and wellness as well, but also more of a generational healing, healing the bloodline, karmic patterns. If you're working to break anything there, you might want to work with more of the turquoise, or maybe just combine the two together. Finally, labradorite is great for connecting you to the other. Ooh, apparently somebody needs that on this transmission, because that just threw out of my hand to you. I did not throw that. I did not let that go. But labradorite, let's hold it close. Check out that shine, that sheen. Beautiful stone, probably one of my favorites. I actually have it behind the phone right now as well. So you are sandwiched in labradorite right now, which is pretty cool. And this stone, it comes from the cosmos, and it's found in Labrador, Canada, and it's a place where a certain meteor crashed, meteor, I never get that right, but crashed into the earth, and it produced this beautiful stone. This connects us to the ether, to the other side, to our angels, our archangels, our ancestors, our guides, our guardians, whatever we want to call it. It connects it to more of that source consciousness and source energy. So if you need more connection to those liminal spaces and what's on the other side, I suggest you getting more labradorite in your life. And also, again, maybe putting this under your pillow, under your bed, using it in meditation, yoga nidra, any of those practices. And by the way, these transmissions are recorded for 13 Moons members. So if you're a member, you can always go back and review these practices. And this particular yoga nidra, I will take out and put into the yoga section of the membership, and also in the magical practices section of the membership. So you will find this in multiple places as a recording, probably tomorrow, and you can come back to it time and time again if you need to. Let's move on to our fire element. Now, a little bit different tonight because I'm not bringing in actual fire. Normally, I will light up some sort of smudging stick and bring in some sacred smoke. But tonight, I want to bring in just the concept of fire through aromatherapy. Reason being, this moon is an eclipsed moon, and that means that there's extra solar amplification and almost like a flash of solar light. We have a lot of fire with this moon already. Even though it's a water moon, the eclipse makes it very fiery, and also because it's a full moon, it's bringing in that extra solar energy. So we're not going to bring in extra fire tonight, but if you felt like you needed to light a candle or smudge with typical smudging flame and smoke, please do that in your own practice. I'm bringing in the water element of the essential oils to create a smudging spray. And this also brings in our element of air in a different way. Again, we're doing this moon circle a little bit differently than normal, but we don't have that sacred smoke tonight for the air element. However, we do have the effervescence of this smudging spray going out into the air and distributing. So we're still connecting to that air element. There's also going to be a scent related to the smudging spray that connects to our olfactory system, which is our sense of smell taking in the air. So we're absolutely still connecting to the air with this spray. We're also connecting to the fire because it took heat or fire to collect this oil, preparing this smudging spray with this oil, and the essential oil was collected through steam distillation. So even though the fire isn't present right now, it's present because it was used in the creation of the essential oils that were used to create the smudging oil. Hopefully that makes sense, but I want to give you a substitute tonight, not only because this is a water moon and this is a watery way to connect to the fire in the air, but some of you might be in spaces where you can't light up the smudging smoke, right? So if you need to smudge, but you don't want to use fire and smoke, you can make a smudging spray. Easiest way to do that is take your oil, whatever it is. I'm using Spanish sage. I actually have it right here. Here's my Spanish sage oil. So yes, you can get sage in an essential oil. It's a plant just like anything else. And I put about 30 drops in here. I can't remember how much, probably about 20 drops. And then the rest of it was water. And then just a tiny bit of 91% isopropyl alcohol. You can also do witch hazel instead, or vodka, or whiskey if you really want to get into that, but it's going to have that scent. Remember that. So I prefer like a witch hazel or an isopropyl. Rest of it's distilled or filtered water, and then about 20 to 30 drops of the oil. But with that, I'm going to shake this up just to make sure it's good and mixed. And I'm going to give myself a little spritz here just to take in that energy. Smells so good. And then I'm going to give you a little spritz, the tech that we're using to connect to a little spritz, and just a little spritz all around. By the way, I also have this dream catcher in our transmission tonight, and that is also connecting us to the element of air, the mind, the dreams, the cosmos, beyond the unexplainable that is the dream space. We've got the dream catcher here. We have the feathers. Feathers are representative of air energy as well. So all of those could be utilized for those elements of air, and then the fire can be utilized with aromatherapy. Now, you don't even have to utilize an actual smudging spray to clear the energy. You could just actually have your oil. You could open it up or throw a couple of drops in the diffuser, smell it, waft it around, let it get into the air. This is even more potent than the actual spray. And it doesn't have to be sage. It could be a combination, right? I have some lavender here. So we're moving into more of this water element now. Lavender is very calming, it's soothing to the energy. It helps us find more sleep and rest. It calms down those anxious thoughts or that restless energy. And also, it's a muscle relaxer, one of the strongest muscle relaxers. So if you have actual restless body, maybe dilute a little bit of lavender and rub that on you. The combination of lavender and sage can really clear the air and help move it into a more peaceful state, or you could use them separately. You can make a smudging spray out of anything. It doesn't have to be sage oil. You could do lavender as well. Now, speaking of muscle relaxing oils, peppermint is another one you may want to utilize during this full moon time. It is also nice and strong to release the tension in the body, but it is a very hot oil. It's harsh compared to the lavender. Lavender is very gentle. Lavender you can pretty much use on all ages, whereas peppermint I wouldn't use in littles under the age of 6. You want to be careful with these spicier oils. It's weird to think of peppermint as spicy, but I promise you, if you touch this and touch your eyes or your mucous membranes, you're going to see how hot it really feels. It's going to be like a hot, cold, or icy hot state. So make sure you heavily dilute if you're using this on the body. Also, wash your hands after. Don't touch your mucous membranes. But also just smelling it, throwing it in the diffuser, maybe combining it with the lavender or the sage. This one helps us to bring things up that are stuck. And that's what smudging does as well. It kind of collects all of the negative stuff that's been stuck around and clears it out. So whenever we have stuck emotions, stuck feelings that we haven't been processing or expressing or allowing to come through, then we feel stuck and locked up in the body. We're tense. Maybe we have knots in the stomach. Maybe we have indigestion or problems there. Peppermint is the oil of buoyancy. It's going to bring those things up and out, loosen up those stomach knots, even helps with digestion, in fact, but it will help you with the feelings and the emotions coming out to be more expressed as well. Also supports the throat chakra. If you're dealing with any throat stuff or respiratory stuff right now, peppermint can help that. Finally, I would suggest using pink peppercorn or pepper oils in general if you are working with addiction or too much dissociation. Pepper will definitely spike your senses and bring you back into the present. If you want a less harsh oil, lemon can do that as well. Lemon initiates detox, can be a great substitute for addiction, and also brings you back into the senses, really awakening the senses. I bring this up because Pisces is a water moon. Water energy is associated with addiction, with addictive substances, and also Pisces is the most dissociative of the signs. Remember, it connects to the spaces where the veil is thin or beyond the veil, and sometimes they struggle to ground into reality. That dissociation can also lead to connecting to addictive substances. If you are trying to work on addiction right now, if you're trying to break an addiction with this full moon, which full moons are a time of release and change, then get some pink peppercorn in your life or pepper oils. You can spice up your life with more pepper in your dishes as well, and that's more of the earth element. But the pepper oil, you can just smell it. You can put it in a massage oil, like 1 drop, because it's a hot oil as well. Again, don't use that around little kids. Don't touch your mucous membranes or your eyes. Wash your hands thoroughly after. But that one can really wake you up and bring you back. So we've discussed the earth elements, the water elements, the fire, the air, and then the 5th element we brought up with the Labrador, right? 5th element is the ether. It's the space where we're connecting digitally through the internet. It's anything where the message goes through a vibration from what appears to be a void. It's also everything beyond this earthly realm. So more of the cosmos, source energy, those archangels, angels, guides, guardians, ancestors, whatever you want to call them, all of those messages that come from what seems to be somewhere else and not of us, that support us or support our deeper, more collective, greater evolution. That is all of the ether. And so we invite that in as our 5th element now, because it withstands time and physical space. All of these elements, these oils, even though you can't smell the oils, you're absorbing the frequency. Even though you can't touch these crystals, you're absorbing the frequency. Everything that comes through tonight, you're taking in the frequency as if you were sitting here right in front of me. That is the magic of the ether. That is why I love to connect to it so much. So with that, I'm going to take a drink of my tea here. I also have some green tea. I would suggest really hydrating right now during this moon. This also isn't the moon to make moon water like our typical moons with the full moon energy. We usually set that water out and charge it up and drink it. Now, with that being said, eclipses are a reset. They wipe our programming. Maybe you need that reset. If you do, go make some moon water tonight or tomorrow night and the next few nights, because it's a super moon, so the energy's there for about 5 days, the rest of this week really. Drink that water, use it in ceremony, bathe with it, shower with it, whatever you want to do, reset. But if you don't want to let go of the progress you've made, then you don't want to make any moon water right now. So just make sure you're hydrated in other ways. I'm drinking some nice lemon ginger green tea right now to really detox. Full moons are a time of letting go, so it's a good time to pay attention to your gut health. You might want to drink like some kombucha. Might want to have something more fermented right now to support the gut health, also to increase your intuition, because Pisces is very intuitive. But with that being said, I'm just going to grab a quick drink of the tea here to wet my whistle. With that, I want to call in the guides and guardians of the 5 directions. You can join me if you'd like. I start by calling in the guides and guardians of the East with their element of air, bringing us second chances, new beginnings, even in the middle of a lunar cycle. Also bringing us the opportunity to lean into more airspace of mind and rest. This Pisces moon asks us to slow down, so we let ourselves be more spiritual and slow now. And we thank the guides and guardians of the East with their element of air for being in our circle. We also invite in the guides and guardians of the south with their element of fire burning strongly with this partially eclipsed full moon. We let the fire serve us in an energetic way to burn away what no longer serves. And we also set ourselves on fire for our dreams, and we hold on to them no matter what challenges come ahead. We thank the fire and the guides and guardians of the south for being in our circle. We also invite in the guides and guardians of the west with their element of water, moving strongly with this watery Pisces moon. We also trust in the waters of time that may slow us down right now in this eclipse season or may fast forward us ahead more unexpectedly. We trust in the timing of things, and we thank the guides and guardians of the west with their water for being in our circle. We also invite in the guides and guardians of the north for being in our circle with all of their magical elements, the crystals, the gemstones, the plants, the flowers that create the oils, the chemicals and the chemistry to come around just right to produce the magic, and our ancestors that have walked this earthly realm before us. We thank the guides and guardians of the earth for being in our circle tonight. And we also invite in the guides and guardians of the fifth element, the ether, the Akash, the all that ever was, the all that ever will be, angels, archangels, deities, source, consciousness, source energy. We let it come to us however it needs to, and we thank it for being in our circle. With that, we have even more of a sacred space. Let's talk a little bit more about what's going on right now with this moon, because, man, there are a lot of cosmic transits. The first one I want to touch base on is Venus, because Venus is currently in Virgo along with the sun, which means it is opposing the moon right now. And it's reminding us to be more gentle with ourselves. Venus in Virgo is telling us to beautify ourselves, to balance ourselves, to get more into our health and our wellness and our energetic harmony. It's also telling us to be more yin and internal rather than external. Venus is also opposing Chiron right now, the wounded healer, which represents our traumas, our triggers, our wounds, our inner childhood stuff that hurt us and broke our hearts. And when we have this opposition coming in, it's saying, hey, it's time to nurture those wounds. It's time to send love around those wounds. It's time to have a relationship with our inner child and its wants and needs, and maybe our inner parent as well. And all of this is forming a T-square with Pluto, the planet of power, control, the underworld, which means that stuff might be coming up right now, but it's because we're healing it for good and we're no longer allowing it to control our lives or control our behaviors. We're no longer leaning into a martyrdom or victim mentality. It's time to move on from that. And that's because Mars is also in Cancer right now, the sign of the cosmic parent, the cosmic warrior, telling us to get stuff done. Do the work, do the battle, do the healing, do what we need to do with our practices to make ourselves feel better, grow up a little bit, and take charge of our life. Now, we also have a grand trine supporting us with this moon. We have Uranus retrograde in Taurus. We have the sun in Virgo. And we also have Venus in Virgo. And we've got all of this energy coming in to say, hey, right now. Oh, sorry. We also have Pluto and Capricorn. Forgot to mention that. Already brought it up. But between those, between Pluto, the sun, and Uranus, really, there is this grand trine in Earth energy to snap us back to reality, to bring us into the present, to give us a little bit of a reality check, and also tell us, hey, it might be time to do something different or become a different version of who you are, or maybe get back into the truest version of yourself. Now, we've got some squares coming in, but overall, the energy is more supportive than oppositional. We even have Venus trining Jupiter right now. This Venus energy is really important because Venus is this planet of the yin, the planet of love, the planet of friendship and relationship and romanticism. And when we have that trining Jupiter, the planet of growth, fortune, joy, abundance, we are encouraged to live in our bliss and live in our joy. So if we aren't feeling blissful right now, if we're feeling sad, if we're feeling wounded, if we're leaning into the past, it's time to do the work to get rid of that connection and find more love and acceptance around what we went through, but also hold more space around what we can become instead of holding on to the limitations that are programming us right now from our past. I want to skip over just a minute to the eastern side of the world as well, because we have this moon from an eastern perspective also in a little bit of Pisces, the first 3 degrees and 20 minutes, and also in the last 10 degrees of Aquarius in Purva Bhadrapada Nakshatra, which is also ruled by Jupiter. So Jupiter is a partner in this moon right now, which is a partially eclipsed moon, which means that the moon and the sun are positioned just right where they won't completely cross each other, but almost. And with that, there will be an opportunity for a partial reset. And that's why I say maybe just do things differently, same but different. Maybe working towards the same intention or goal or dream, but doing it differently, taking a different approach. And also doing it with more internal support and less worry about the external. This particular lunar mansion is ruled by a version of Shiva that is one-legged or one-footed, and really what it breaks down to is a column or pillar of light, which within us is our Sushumna. It is that main energetic highway where the 7 main chakras are. We are encouraged right now to find more energetic balance, which comes from our heart. But just below our heart is our solar plexus, our internal sun, and seat of self and seat of bliss and joy. And if we don't work to balance the two right now, then everything's going to feel out of whack moving forward. Purva Bhadrapada Nakshatra is represented by a two-faced man, or the first 2 feet of a funeral cot. There is this holding on and letting go, old self and new self, shadow and light, past and future. There's a lot of duality right now, including the actual eclipse energy, physically expressing that duality. But overall, we do have the opportunity to begin transforming into somebody new. Now, notice this isn't the cremation pier. This isn't that actual funeral pyre where we lay the body on and burn it. It's just the beginnings of the funeral bed. Maybe it's being prepared and the body's being prepared to be laid on it. Maybe we're preparing ourselves and our lives for this next version of ourselves to come through. Maybe it's the body actually being placed there in the beginning of the mourning stages. Maybe we're actually cutting ties and letting go. Purva Bhadrapada is also represented by a sword. So maybe we're cutting ties and we're grieving, but we're also kind of getting excited, a celebration of life, if you will, for what is to come. Or maybe we're in that deep shedding process and the decay, and we're going through it right now. Whatever we're experiencing, it is for our growth. Jupiter is here, the planet of expansion and joy. We would not go through this death or change or transition if it wasn't for our higher spirit and good, our next best life. Embrace this partial lunar eclipse, because if you hold on to whatever ties you down to your old self, you'll continue to have old self stuff come up through the spring, through this winter. But if you let go and you lean into the new self and you let go of that old, you're going to have so many new opportunities to grow and change in a fortunate way. With that, I want us to do a quick tarot reading because I have the tarot cards pulled for the collective. And then we are going to do tarot card pulls for each member of the membership, the 13 Moons membership, and also the members will move into their yoga nidra practice. Let's start with the past card that I pulled for this moon, Temperance. By the way, I'm pulling from the Guardian of the Night tarot. one of my favorites, especially during eclipses. There's these moons and bees, reminds me of harvest. But we have this frog in the water, half in, half out. There's a cup in the water. You can see that chalice down there, representing our sacral waters, creative spaces, intuition. We also have the moon above, a full moon, a bit of a blood moon, so it's an eclipsed moon, and it's shining down on the waters. I love that we pull this card for our past because we have been in this eclipse series since 2023. We also pull this for our past because we just entered into Virgo season back in August. And Temperance would be the Virgo card if there was ever a card to represent Virgo energy. It's modesty, mindfulness, being demure, which is funny because that's very popular right now as this Virgo season has gotten more popular. But this is moderation. One foot in the water, one out, balance. The frog represents both lives. We can be in the magical, the intuitive, the sacred, the spiritual, but we can also be in the everyday, the mundane, the going through the motions, the routine. We find ritual within it all. This Temperance card is reminding us to treat ourselves while also paying attention to others, to be in our practices of spirituality while also being in just our daily hygiene that supports our physical health and wellness. And also to be a little bit patient right now and not so reactive, be more proactive. Venus is also in Virgo right now, being very mindful with the way that we choose our thoughts and our expressions and our behaviors and how we react. Also, we might have a need to treat ourselves right now with this Venus-Jupiter combo, or maybe we're healing our inner child, Venus opposing Chiron, and helping us to maybe treat ourselves a little bit more with what our inner child was denied. Everything in moderation. Don't get into the addictive spaces with this Pisces moon. Find what you need to make yourself feel good and maybe heal a little bit of yourself that you've been working on, but also be able to come out of those emotional waters that might pull you down from time to time and dry out and let the moon illuminate the next steps ahead for you to leap to. I also love this as a frog as we're entering the eclipse season, where we can literally leap into our next evolution in an accelerated way. Also, for the present card, I pulled a reversed 10 of Pentacles. We have all these bees buzzing around, all these pentacles, these flowers. And typically this is about sharing your resources, right? Like hard work pays off, you're successful, and now you're sharing the resources. When it's reversed, it's the opposite of that. To share the resources with yourself. While you may want to shower others with your successes, let it be on yourself first. And maybe that's just rewarding yourself with rest right now with this full moon being in Pisces. The world is very noisy right now. There's a lot of chatter. Maybe you turn within and silence all of that buzzing with more meditation, rest, relaxation. Maybe it's tonight in this yoga nidra practice. If you're watching the replay and you're not a part of the membership, maybe you join the membership, grab the replay, and get this rest practice. But this is about showering yourself, taking care of yourself, self-care, treating yourself a little bit as well. And anytime you invest in yourself, right, this is also about investing in yourself right now, investing in your dreams and the work it takes to get there and the energy it takes to get there and the efforts it takes to get there. When you invest in yourself, you always see a return tenfold or more. And we have the 10 of Pentacles, which represents endings and beginnings and very prosperous, exciting new chapters to come. For our future card, upright, I pulled the 5 of Wands. This card's got a beaver trying to build his dam amongst a stormy amount of water. But he's going to get it done because he's diligent. And he has his intention and his mind and his energy focused on the task. Eclipse season is rocky and stormy. We're going to have challenging times. We're going to feel a tug of war. We're going to be presented with crossroads to stay where we are in an old version of ourselves or step into a new version of ourselves. We're going to be challenged to stay on track or fall off and give up. We're going to have to stick to it right now. Anytime we have the 5 of Wands, it's a lot of projects and fires that we're tending and a lot of wounds that we're healing and a lot of things that we have to deal with overall. But if we can just stick to it, eventually the storm will calm, the waters will recede, and our house will be standing strong. So build the framework, build the groundwork right now for the life that you are trying to create. And you might not see it until this other side of eclipse season. You might not see it until summer of next year. You might not see it a year from now. You might not see it until farther in. But stick to it so that you continue to get the energy there, because energy flows where intention goes. This is the reading I have for the collective tonight, loves. I hope that it is relative for your full moon energy and this eclipse portal you're about to navigate through. At this point, I'm going to move on to our exclusives for our members. So I will sign off with you, but I do wish you a blessed full moon. We begin by dismissing the guides and guardians of the fifth element, the ether, a magical space that continues to expand, a space that brings us messages from source to help serve our next better self. We thank you for your magic and what you've brought to us in our circle as you leave us now. We also dismiss the guides and guardians of the north with their element of earth, as well as our ancestors for the wisdom they have given us, the magic that the earthly items bring. We trust in all of the magic and all that has been received as we send these guides and guardians of the north with their earth along their way. We also dismiss the guides and guardians of the west with their water, present with this watery Pisces moon, encouraging us to process and feel our emotions, to express ourselves with creativity, to stay fertile and trust that we can always make our dreams come true. Time does not matter. Our mindset does. So we thank the guides and guardians of the west with their water as they leave us now. We thank the guides and guardians of the south with their fire for being present in our circle, burning strongly with this fiery eclipsed full moon, reminding us that change is always here and really inevitable. It's up to us to decide when we want to grasp it. We seize the fires of transformation now as we become the new version of who we are ready to be. And we thank the guides and guardians of the south with their fire for being with us as they leave us now. Finally, we dismiss the guides and guardians of the east with their air, helping to give us deep breaths to calm our energy, to help us to rest, to assist us in leaning into trust, knowing that sometimes we need to just allow things to be. It's not always about the doing. And so we invite in this different way of doing things now with a new beginning. And we thank the guides and guardians of the east with their air for being present as they leave us now. With this, our circle is complete tonight. I send you so many blessings underneath this Pisces full supermoon and Purva Bhadra Pada Nakshatra and Purva Bhadra Pada Nakshatra. I've leaned into the liminal spaces now. I've got sleepy voice. I hope you rest well tonight, and I hope that you start to see your dreams come true. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May we all be happy and healthy. May we all know wellness and peace. May we all feel safe. May we all know bliss and joy. May we all feel loved, be loved, love one another, and may our actions, intentions, behaviors, and energy all contribute to that joy, that bliss, that health, wellness, safety, peace, and love for all. And so it is. And so it already is. And so it will be. Blessed be, loves. I'll see you soon.